I'm glad I waited a little while to talk about this. You feel me? But let's get into it.
Kato on the track,
Pledge allegiance to the nation. Hit that like and subscribe button if you rocking with me. If not, you can walk the plank and go straight down to Davy Jones' locker. You know what it is. It's the recap. Week 1. You know what I'm saying? We marched into LA and did not come back with the dub. We came back with an L. It's all good, dog. We lost 24-19. The day of the game, I was hot. I was heated. I was mad. I was angry. Mainly at DC. DC had a terrible game. He was missing a lot of passes that should have been routine. The first one that was alarming to me was the first drive going down. You have Waller wide open in the flat, and you throw it behind him. That should have been an easy 7. The second one was Devontae going deep. Now, Devontae, his brother, is going to protect his brother by saying, hey, I could have made it a better play on the ball, which he could have. But really, we all know that DC underthrew that ball. If he would have threw it towards the back of the end zone, it would have been easy touchdown, beautiful pass, right back in the game. But I'm going to say this. It's not all DC's fault. After I sit here and I look at it, our starters did not play in the preseason. And that came up and it showed big in this game. That we were rusty, we were knocking out the rust. And you got to think, Waller hasn't even been at practice. He's been trying to get his contract settled. So him not being at practice, the starters not playing in any of the preseason games, we're just off a little bit. And you could tell we're just off just a little bit. I think that the connection of DC to Adams is going to continue to grow, and it's going to be very special, especially this season. And I think, everybody else will get into hand, whether it's Renfro getting more targets and Waller getting more targets. I thought that Waller was killing it. He was uncoverable. So was Devontae. To see them on the field at the same time is going to be bad for defenses. Renfro didn't really get any major shine going on. He had a couple of good catches in there, but he wasn't targeted very much. Waller just was targeted only 6 times, but when he did get targeted, it was for deep balls. And I said earlier that Waller is going to be our deep threat, you guys. But there was that. The thing I was mad at the most was the game plan. But then again, it goes back to we did not play our starters in the preseason. So McDaniels wanted to go pass heavy. I don't know if it's to get his people up to speed or whatever he wanted to do, but he did not run the ball. And it's a shame because when we did run the ball, we were gashing them. Jacobs averaged 5.7 yards a carry on 10 carries. I believe if we went into the game with the mentality that we're going to run the ball, this would have been a much different game. But we went out pass heavy. We wanted to show out with Devontae. That connection looks special. Waller and him together on the field looks deadly. Our defense. But no, before I even get to talk about the defense, the offensive line. The offensive line, in my opinion, played much better than everybody expected. I kept saying during training camp that I like Mumford. And in my opinion, Illuminor may have been slightly better in the past, but Munford was a lot better in the run. I think that a lot of the sacks contributed to DC holding the ball too long. That's my opinion. I think that when you got this elite pass rush coming at you with Mack and Bosa, you got to get rid of the ball. And I think we kept trying to push the envelope to see how deep we could go and penetrate their safeties deep, go over the top on them, or hit Waller in the middle of the field. And we were doing a lot of that. But it also was uncalled for DC to hold the ball that long on some of those sacks, or not stepping in the pocket, or not running the ball. But later on, McDaniels had said that he doesn't, he basically said, he was asked a question by the media whether, that was an issue, and he's basically answered he doesn't want our quarterbacks running the ball. So maybe that's why, DC's not running outside and rolling out and trying to gain some extra yardage, or, just to keep it from getting sacked or whatever. But, yeah, so there's that. The defense now. The defense did their thing. I think that when you look at the end of the second half, towards the end of the second half in the second quarter, the Chargers, when they went up 17-3, they got handed a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? That touchdown off of the roughing the passer penalty, I think that should have been a flag that was picked up and put in their pockets. I don't think Nate Hobbs, did anything wrong. I mean, he looked like he was about to dive for the first down and kind of hesitated on his slide, and they got away with one. They gave him, 3 extra downs to go in there and try to get into the end zone, and they did. So they went up 17-3, but that could have easily been, 4 points less on that drive, and been 13 points instead of 17. So that's different. I don't like that McDaniels, with 3 timeouts and over 30 seconds left at the end of the half, decided not to push the ball down the field. I mean, all we needed with Carlson was maybe 40 yards, 40, 50 yards. You got 3 timeouts in 30 seconds. You could push the ball down that fast. You know what I'm saying? Look at your weapons. I don't understand why he didn't try. I guess he didn't want to make another mistake and, just dig us a deeper hole. But at that point, I felt like, we should have fought back. We were getting the ball back in the second half. And, if we were able to get in there and just get another 3 points, that would have been a big deal for us. So, but they did come out in the second half well more prepared, especially the defense. The offense started to run the ball more, which they should have did in the first half. They started stopping the offense, and they started getting the Chargers off the field on third downs. Now, we didn't get any sacks, and it didn't look like we touched Herbert once, which is kind of irritating because we're supposed to have a superstar pass rush too. But, I mean, their line is all pro. Zion and Slater, their center Lindsey, they got an offensive line. They probably the top 3 offensive line. Them, the Colts, they have superior offensive lines, you guys. But I think that Max was able to do some good things in there. It doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but he was playing some good football. They really only scored 7 points in the second half. They only scored a touchdown, you guys. So we actually did a very good job in the second half defensively. Again, it was just the turnovers, DC making bad decisions. McDaniels called a pretty good game going pass heavy. I would have went run heavy, but the way he was calling the plays, there were some good plays in there. They just weren't executed properly. I don't like the double reverse call with Devontae Adams at that point. I think that would have probably been good on the goal line or something like that. Not that far away from the end zone, and not at that time either. I would have liked to see more of a mixture of the running backs, some more catching the ball off the backfield, maybe putting Zamir White out there, see what he could do in the game. We didn't really get any of that. I did like the play with Bolden out the backfield on the wheel route. That was a beautiful play. The touchdown to Devontae Adams was incredible. Just shows that what they could do. But we left a lot on the field. I don't think that it will be the same next week versus Arizona. I think we'll have a much better game. We'll be much more prepared. We got the dirt off of us week 1, and going forward, we're going to have much better gameplay, especially from DC. So that's my thoughts of the recap. Going in, you just got to give the Chargers their props. They're a top 5 team, and they won on their home turf. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing for us to sit there and worry about. The sky isn't falling yet. You know what I'm saying? This is not the same old Raiders. We're still doing good things. But I will leave you guys with this. Did McDaniels make a mistake by trading Trayvon Mullen? We traded Trayvon Mullen to the Cardinals for a 7th-round draft pick. Now A-Rate is hurt. And now we got 3 vets on there that we have to now put in. Now, I know that Trayvon Mullen gets hurt and everything like that, but I think he would have been a good piece to have on a prove-it year and make him earn that spot. He was a top 3 corner on our team. I know we got Rock and Nate went out there and beasted. Nate Hobbs is a superstar. But I think that Trayvon Mullen is going to be mighty missed right now these next couple weeks if we can't get one of these veteran corners that we signed to fit in the scheme really quickly because they're going to be playing a lot of snaps. So that's what I'll leave you with. Looking forward to week 2 against the Cardinals. My thoughts on our rivals, the Kansas City Chiefs. They look impressive. I said that they won that trade, the Tyreek Hill trade. I think it gives Pat Mahomes more weapons to look at. I don't think, like everybody else, that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be the bottom of the division. I still think they're the top of the division. I think that we will split with the Chargers, and the Denver Broncos are what they said I was going to, and they are. They're going to be the bottom of our division. Russell Wilson is going to get a huge wake-up call coming to the AFC West. He's gonna find himself in quicksand. So that's what I'm gonna leave you with. And till next time, I'll holla. Peace.